This is The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Now, here's Frank Morano.
This is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Frank Morano. All right, I have a ton of stuff that I am going to get through this hour, and Noam Laden is going to be here at the bottom of the hour. We'll see what he has for us as well. So I'm going to run through these stories quickly and then try and take your calls as well. For starters, in some major news, Judge Eileen Cannon on Monday. By the way, can we talk about the fact that Donald Trump is on just an incredible hot streak of good luck? I mean, first, he has that debate with President Biden in which he wins by default. He could have not said anything and won that debate handily. Then he has the situation in which his sentencing gets postponed in the New York State conviction case, and also has the related win on presidential immunity. Then, obviously, you have the assassination attempt, which could have gone very bad, and you have a couple inches one way or another, he's dead. You talk about luck. And then yesterday, he comes out and scores a huge legal victory. If you haven't heard about this, this is really significant. Judge Eileen Cannon dismissed former President Trump's federal classified documents case, citing the unlawful appointment and funding of special counsel Jack Smith. This is the case that out of the four main cases, I thought had the biggest, I thought was the most potentially troublesome for him, because it was pretty serious, unlike, the internal document. Well, whatever. We don't need to go through all the cases. But Trump is the only former president that has so far been convicted of a felony. And this is a huge, major legal win for him. And the legal team, his legal team, has reportedly sought to have the classified documents case dismissed. And it was widely believed by a lot of legal experts to be the strongest criminal case that the former president was facing. So Judge Cannon, who was appointed by President Trump, had come under intense scrutiny over her handling of the case. Critics have accused her of intentionally slow walking the proceedings. She had previously postponed the trial indefinitely, citing a number of outstanding pretrial motions. So now the fact that this case comes out, this decision comes out, I didn't read the whole thing, just the highlights. But, quote, the superseding indictment is dismissed because special counsel Smith's appointment violates the appointments clause of the United States Constitution. That's what she wrote in her filing. Trump's attorneys had argued that the case should be dismissed because they said Smith's appointment as special counsel was unconstitutional. Special counsel's office didn't immediately respond to comment to this. I mean, this is incredible. Cannon's dismissal of the classified documents case comes at a very good time for Trump. And you could bet they're going to appeal this. But I have to tell you, this is wild. Here was Alan Dershowitz on the Katz and Cosby radio show explaining what the dismissal of this case, these charges means.
Well, it throws out the Florida case, and it probably throws out the D.C. case. It's the same special prosecutor, and if he was unconstitutionally appointed for Florida, he was unconstitutionally appointed for D.C. Look, this is an argument that's been around now for 30 years. Justice Scalia talked about it. It was talked about when special counsel was appointed in the Clinton case. This is an issue that has to be resolved by the Supreme Court. And she made the decision to strike it down, saying the appointment was unconstitutional, which means the primary implication is that there won't be a trial until after the election. It might be reversed on appeal. There's no predicting. There's no real precedent for this. There's some strong arguments. I've looked at her 93-page opinion. It's certainly a strong opinion, quoting the founding fathers and Hamilton and the Federalist Papers. She has a strong argument, but it's possible that the Supreme Court will say no. But it's a good thing that the case has been decided in a way that now goes to the Supreme Court. And probably in a year, we'll know whether she was right or wrong. But it's a decision that can't be criticized as frivolous or anything like that, the way some of the Democrats are criticizing it. So here we have, the judge dismissing this case, probably ending up with the D.C. case dismissed, although they may decide in the D.C. case to go forward and create a conflict for the Supreme Court. We're not sure, but it has great implications.
So I did not read the 93-page decision, so I'm going to largely refrain from commenting on that, or whether it's a right decision or the wrong decision. I'll just say this. And this has been my view going back to when I first started paying close attention to this stuff during the Clinton administration. I am so done with these special counsels, whether it's an independent counsel, as Ken Starr was, and as you had during the Iran-Contra scandal, or whether it's a special counsel like Robert Mueller was, or like Jack Smith is, or Robert Hur is. To me, and I was explaining this to my wife yesterday, but I really do feel this way. To me, once you make an appointment of a special counsel, you're basically deciding, I am not going to do my job. Okay. When you bring in a special counsel, you create a situation where the levers of power that are supposed to be accountable to the voters no longer are. I hate these special counsels. One of the best essays that I'd read on this was from the New York Times back in March. And I just shared it on my Facebook page. If you want to read it, facebook.com/Morano fan. Jack Smith and Robert Hur are the latest examples of a failed institution. And it's written by Jack Goldsmith. Jack Goldsmith was an assistant attorney general in the George W. Bush administration and co-author of After Trump, Reconstructing the Presidency. And he goes on to explain that a special counsel is supposed to ensure that the Justice Department can credibly conduct sensitive investigations that are and that appear to be fair and apolitical. Yet special counsels and their precursors, what I just mentioned, the independent counsels, have for decades failed to achieve this goal. A failure that has now reached a peak with two special counsels having an extraordinary impact on a presidential election. And he writes, and I completely agree, it is time to kill the special counsel institution. Special counsels, and again, this is all Goldsmith's writing, special counsels have had different labels over the years. They were first institutionalized when a post-Watergate statute created what came to call them an independent counsel, appointed by a federal court upon application of the Attorney General and removable by the Attorney General or Congress only in extreme cases. That's where Lawrence Walsh investigated Iran-Contra. It's where Ken Starr investigated Monica Lewinsky. And both men drew sharp attacks, partisan attacks, because of the political stakes and in response to what some said was norm-breaking behavior. Their principal decisions were perceived by different parts of the country to be wildly unfair. In the case of Mr. Walsh, giving credence to unproven facts and allegations against people not charged, or in the case of Ken Starr, including salacious and politically damaging but completely legally irrelevant details in a referral to Congress that laid out the grounds for Clinton's impeachment. So neither party shed a tear when the independent counsel statute lapsed in 1999. And that's kind of what you heard Alan Dershowitz talk about there, 30 years of history on this. One consensus point at the time was that prosecutorial independence from the attorney general did nothing to arrest the perceived partisanship of the investigation, but it often did lead to over-investigation, undue commentary about targets, and all sorts of other instances of prosecutorial zeal. The supposed virtue of prosecutorial independence was viewed as a debilitating lack of political accountability. So the main aim of the 1999 regulations that govern special counsels today was to center accountability for sensitive investigations more firmly with the attorney general. Those regulations gave the attorney general the power to reverse a special counsel decision. So inappropriate or unwarranted practices shouldn't be pursued. And it contemplated these new rules, special counsel explanations of prosecutorial or declination decisions in a confidential report that the attorney general had discretion to disclose if it was in the public interest. But the regulations have totally failed to accomplish this. They deny the attorney general day-to-day supervision of a special counsel, and attorneys general tend not to want the ultimate responsibility of making the final decision here. Bill Barr, when he was attorney general, for instance, believed that Mueller's report on Trump departed from the department's policy and legal views, but he wasn't shy about taking politically controversial actions. He didn't exercise his power to alter Mueller's actions or to keep the report confidential. Special counsels hold the real power in the relationship, not the attorney general. And this power, along with their singular focus on one issue and the extraordinary resources that they're given, and the special need to justify a lengthy, costly, intense investigation, it leads them to make highly controversial decisions. And you saw this with Blagojevich when he was prosecuted by Patrick Fitzgerald. I think Governor Blagojevich may come on with us later this week as well. So in a report after his investigation of Trump, Mueller drew a lot of very justifiable criticism when he departed from the special counsel investigation regulations by refusing to decide whether Trump had committed crimes that he could be prosecuted for, while commenting that his report did not exonerate him. The special counsel John Durham, appointed by Bill Barr to investigate the origins of the Trump-Russia inquiry, drew justified criticism when his final report contained wide-ranging criticism of former officials beyond, criminality. The excesses in the Mueller and the Durham reports, it deepened this perceived politicization of the Justice Department by different halves of the country, depending on where you stood politically. Again, this is just the opposite goal of what the regulations are supposed to do. And then Congress has, they just make all these investigations even more political, hauling them before Congress to testify, making it even more political. And now this same pattern has emerged with Merrick Garland and the two special counsels he's appointed, Jack Smith to investigate the Trump cases and Robert Hur to investigate Biden's mishandling of documents. Because both Smith and Hur, whether you think either of them are doing the best job or the worst, they've both made controversial decisions that once again have different halves of the country believing that they violated the norms. And I think that, so perhaps public confidence in these investigations would have been no different if the department went through normal channels under the direct supervision of Merrick Garland and if the attorney general handled them. But you have to consider the view that Merrick Garland most likely would have taken a much more temperate approach to both matters. Why? Because political accountability in this context helps to ensure that a wide range of interests and values are considered. So as Goldsmith writes, if Garland were fully and transparently in charge, he might have been less likely to have publicly justified Biden's non-culpability in the way that Hurd did. You remember what he said? He had memory problems and didn't know what was going on. And he may have been less likely to have rushed a trial of Trump that so clearly appeared to help his boss. So law enforcement against current and former senior public officials should not be removed from politics in this sense. Political accountability and political judgment, they're essential to the vindication of the rule of law and the Justice Department's integrity in these sorts of investigations. Because these special counsels, they're accountable to no one. They work for the attorney general, but they're not accountable to the attorney general. We deserve to have the people that we vote for appoint people that are going to do their job. Now, what happens if there's such an obvious conflict of interest? I can't answer that, right? But I think for the most part, these special counsels have been a disaster from the word go. I think going forward for the even politically sensitive investigations, we need to go through the proper channels of the Justice Department, as far as I'm concerned. All right. Comment as you see fit. I'm going to run through as many other stories as we can this hour. Noam Laden will join us shortly as well. Our phone number is 646-720-0635. 646-720-0635. This is The Other Side of Midnight. Straight ahead.
The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
It starts with one thing. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in
25 minutes after the hour. Joined right now at this moment by a man with a nose for news, a guy that knows a thing or two about a thing or two, the one and only Noam Laden.
Stand by for The Other Side of Midnight's news.
From New York City, The Other Side of Midnight and its affiliated stations present national and international news with Frank Morano and news director Noam Laden. Their summary of the world news and personal comments. Get the rest of the story.
Hello, Noam.
Good morning, Frank. The suspected drug smuggling tunnel that was found in Tijuana last week in northern Mexico is so long that authorities have yet to find where the exit point is of this thing. And this has been like the year of tunnels, right? I mean, you can go with Hamas in Gaza. Now you got these drug tunnels, or at least they think are drug tunnels in Tijuana. This is not unusual. They found
and don't
others.
forget those famous subterranean temple tunnels in Brooklyn as well.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about those. And then there's the people who, of course, just dig them under their house in case the world ends and they have their own little tunnel to live in. But it is really amazing to me that you're able to finish off and build these tunnels and it seems in a way either where people are being paid off to keep quiet about it or they're doing it so quietly nobody in the neighborhood notices. So here we go. We have this tunnel that is so long that they think they would need to actually bring oxygen tanks into it to find the end of the tunnel. And they're almost sure that, by the way, it begins in Mexico and ends in the U.S., which is no shock because it's another way to bring drugs or smuggle people into the U.S. So this tunnel's connected to another one that was found 2 years ago that does run into U.S. territory. They were notified the U.S. side of this, and now they're looking for the exit point, but so far nobody's been able to find it. One of the tunnels that has been found is the length of 6 football fields. Ooh. It featured rail and ventilation systems, or electricity, reinforced walls, which makes you think local authorities are being paid off. That how do you dig a tunnel like this and nobody notices what's going on? Wouldn't be shocked to hear that the drug cartels are handing over cash to people to keep quiet or just threatening them to keep quiet. So authorities have found about 20 tunnels in all on California's border with Mexico since 2006. That's a lot.
How much of an enterprise is it to construct these tunnels? Are we talking something that gets done in a day, a week, a month, a year?
It depends on the tunnel. Some of these, they take months, even a year to finish off. Others they can do quickly and they're just more crude. But when you talk about a ventilation system, electricity, reinforced walls, that takes a while to do. Now, you're not hiring a union crew to do it, so they're not sitting around half the day. And then, but you have these people might be working long hours under the threat maybe of the drug cartels. But another tunnel. And so they're just starting to figure out that maybe there's a whole lot more that they don't know about, that these are just popping up. I mean, this was accidental that they found this one from Tijuana.
That is crazy. And speaking of it being the year of the tunnels, we're also hearing, this is not exactly a man-made tunnel, at least we don't think, but an international team of scientists has confirmed the existence of lunar caves, caves on the moon. So that's the thing to do, is going underground.
Cave or build a tunnel.
Exactly. At 30 minutes after the hour, this is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Frank Morano, chatting with Noam Laden.
Richard Simmons, we talked about this yesterday, unfortunately passed away over the weekend. And initially, the LA police told us nothing here to see. Move on. He died of natural causes. No. Fast forward to today. The official cause of death is now being investigated by the LAPD. Legendary fitness instructor, if you weren't paying attention, passed away over the weekend, just a day after his 76th birthday. Now, the housekeeper, who has been talked about so much in the last decade or so, some people thought when he went quiet, because we had not heard from him so long, that the housekeeper was keeping him hostage somehow. She's the one who found him on Saturday, and he had apparently fallen on his birthday, and she had told him to go seek medical attention. And he did not, apparently. And TMZ reporting today that he was found in the bathroom a few hours later by the housekeeper, tried to get him up, was unable to do so, called in the authorities, and he was unresponsive on the floor. They, then took him in and he passed away. But now insiders say that there's no signs of injury after this accident. And so now the question is, how did he die? Does the fall have to do with what happened to him? In the last couple months, after leaving the stage, essentially not being heard from for so long, in the last couple months, Richard Simmons has taken to social media, Facebook, and was communicating with some of his fans. In fact, the day before he died, he was thanking fans for the birthday wishes as he celebrated his 76th birthday. But now LAPD says this is an open investigation. It may take 3 months for them to get back results of what exactly happened.
I know he had recently announced that he had skin cancer.
That's right.
Do we know if the skin cancer played any role in his death or anything like that?
He kept it so close to the vest over the last decade, we have no idea.
I also, you talk about the suspicions involving the housekeeper, because there was this whole podcast series that was launched, the Missing Richard Simmons podcast, exploring whether or not he was being held by the housekeeper or someone else against his will. Did we ever find out why he disappeared all of a sudden? He was someone that seemed to really enjoy the spotlight. Why disappear like that?
When he communicated with friends over the last couple of years who were really concerned for his health, people who loved him and had known him well, he said, I was burned out from being that guy. I don't know if you know what he did, but he not only was this huge celebrity who built this fitness empire over a couple of decades and, made really those videos and stuff, made billions of dollars in books and the Mila deal and all that stuff, is that he also spent his off hours when he wasn't in front of the cameras or not in his own studios in LA that he owned, communicating with people who had lost weight or who needed to lose weight. And so when you talk to people who were on that journey trying to lose weight, they say that he would check in with them, some of these people, once a week, once a month. So he would spend a good portion of his day when he was out, not in front of the cameras or not in his studio, making phone calls to these individuals to urge them to keep on their fitness path. And maybe it was just too many hours a day of doing that kind of thing, and he just got burned out. And it makes sense. Sometimes at some point you say, I don't want the spotlight. I'm done with it. And maybe that's true here, or maybe there's more to the story.
I know he came out saying he didn't give any approval for that Pauly Shore movie about his life. I saw the trailer for that Pauly Shore movie. It does look interesting. I still want to see it, even if it is very much of an unauthorized variety. So we'll see where that goes. And if you're just tuning in, I'm Frank Morano. You're listening to The Other Side of Midnight, chewing on some of the headlines with Noam Laden.
This is generational, so maybe we can ask everybody here what they are. Are you a liquid soap guy, or are you a bar soap guy?
I am bar soap in the shower, because that's what my wife buys. In a bathroom, I prefer the liquid soap.
Oh, interesting.
And I have, like when I'm just washing my hands, after I'm in the bathroom or before supper or something, there is this incredible liquid soap that we use in our house. It is, it's called La Maison, and it's the rosemary mint.
That's the flavor or the smell.
It is the best smelling soap.
What's the name of the brand?
It's a French brand. I believe it's à la Maison.
Oh, okay. Huh. All right. I'll have to check that out. It sounds very expensive.
It is, which is why...
Is it like a 50 cents a pump or something like that?
Sometimes people will bring it to us as a gift, instead of a bottle of wine or something. Okay, it's not that expensive, but people know that it'll get used in our house.
Well, the reason I asked you this question is New York is going to become the latest state, and maybe the first really in the end, to force hotels to get rid of all bottled shampoo and bottled soaps, because they say it's just a complete waste of packaging, right? Obviously, you go to your hotel, maybe you open up that tiny little bottle of shampoo, it gets one use, then the maid comes in to clean the place, and she just throws it out. You can't then... Nobody wants those bottles refilled. They just decided that wasn't the route to go. So the thought is no more of this packaging at hotels. That's a lot right here in the city. You think about how many hotels there are. And so, of course, what is it? Is now you'll walk into these hotel rooms next year, and the only option you'll have is liquid soap. And it is interesting when you talk to people of a certain age, maybe 40 and over, they're still looking for that bar soap on the shelf at your local drugstore, your grocery store. Younger than 40, and I can even see this in my own household. My kids, it's all about liquid soap. I try the liquid soap, not a big fan of it.
You don't like liquid soap?
In the shower, I want that bar soap.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you in the shower. In the shower, I think it is, it's just more conducive to what's going on there to have the barred soap.
But I bet if you ask Elias, who's the youngest member of our staff here, he will tell you he's a liquid soap all across the board.
Elias, what's your story? Liquid soap or bar soap?
Liquid.
There you go.
Liquid.
Yeah.
Wow. Why is that a generational thing?
Well, because I think there's more money, a lot more money to be made in liquid soap than bar soap. And now they've come up with all these different smells and, and fragrances that are associated with it. There's a men's version, of course, of liquid soap, which is relatively new. There wasn't really men's versions of bars of soap. And so there's just a lot more product out there that you can sell. And I think you go through it faster. That's really the truth of the matter. Is a bar soap lasts longer than liquid soap.
That's true. I like both, but like I said, shower, bar, bathroom sink.
With the fancy soap.
Exactly.
From France.
Yeah. A la maison.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, but, all right, well, we'll see where that goes. What's the likelihood of that actually being implemented, that prohibition on
I think
on that soap?
If I'm not mistaken, it is a done deal. I don't know when it begins, but if I'm not mistaken, the lawmakers have signed off on that. And soon enough, hotel rooms will be free of any sort of plastic packaging that soap and shampoo comes in. Of course, people love to just take that with them a lot of times, right? You throw that into your bag.
Well, I mean, they say that that's expected, that you're allowed to do that with no problem.
Yeah, they don't bother you about that.
Now, much like the old lady, I believe that I have swallowed a fly here.
Oh, my, it's unbelievable in here.
It is bad. But now I heard you were doing some investigation on this yesterday.
The flies.
And there was some progress potentially made on this?
There was. We've had this issue in the building, what is it, about a week now?
Yeah.
It's incredible. I just took one out of my cup of coffee. It was disgusting. It was like little gnats. Are they gnats? I don't even know what they are.
People have been writing to me. We got to capture it on video or on photo, and maybe we can share it. But they say it might be drain flies.
What are drain flies?
I really don't know. Oh. They're flies that come out of drains or something. But there's not a drain or a sink near where we are.
Well, there's a bathroom sink, I guess.
But that's a ways away.
Yeah. Someone said they were coming through the air conditioning vent. That was the other one I heard the other day. Look at this. Wait. It's not a gnat.
Take a photo, okay. And then we'll put it out what it is and let people decide.
I kid you not. I am looking around the studio. I can see them. Flying around.
It really is creepy. and you know what it is? Especially on days where there are, say, I don't know, presidential assassinations or things like that.
Right.
And you're talking about kind of serious stuff, and you have the one flies right onto your face, or in my potentially my mouth here. It's very distracting.
Yeah. Well, you know about the woman who swallowed the fly, right?
Yeah.
So,
maybe she'll die. Yeah. She swallowed what did she swallow to catch the fly?
A whole bunch of things. Yeah.
Swallowed it to catch the fly.
She swallowed the fly.
I don't know why.
I think
maybe
perhaps she dies.
Yeah. I was going to play that before, but I figured, I don't know, who appreciates.
Oh, so you want the update as somebody from the building came in and said, hey, if you see more of these, come get me. Well, so he walked away, and I walked down the hall, and he said, oh, there's more of them. And he said, okay. And they sent some sort of crew up here, but clearly that did not work.
So if you see more of these, come get me.
Yes.
And you saw more of them.
Well, like minutes, because in that moment I didn't see any. But he walked away, and before he was all the way down the hall, I said, oh, they're back. They're trying to eat my sandwich.
What kind of sandwich was it?
It was peanut butter and jelly.
All right. Well, I thought you did a peanut butter and banana thing.
I do. Oh, there's always banana on it.
Oh, so it's peanut butter, jelly, and banana.
Yeah. Sometimes they do the Nutella. Put a little Nutella on it. Peanut butter and Nutella.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Well.
All fascinating stuff.
I wonder if you switch toppings on that sandwich, if that'll reduce the fly population.
You might be on to something.
We have you to blame for this fly invasion that we're experiencing. I'm more bothered by this than the migrant invasion.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
All right. Thank you, Noam.
And now you know the rest of the story.
All right. 646-720-0635. 646-720-0635. I did want to mention, and I'm going to try and be very restrained on this, because when Netflix ended its DVD service, I almost blew a gasket. And I'm still very upset about it, honestly, because people like me who really enjoyed the Netflix DVD service really felt totally left out. And there were about 1 million customers. And I would read article after article saying, if you were a Netflix DVD customer, what can you do? Where can you go? And one of the frequent suggestions that people made, I never used this service, I want to be clear, was Redbox. Redbox is a service was not totally dissimilar from Netflix, but not as great as Netflix was, where there'd be these little red kiosks and you would be able to pay money and take out a DVD, take it home, and then bring it back. Very convenient for people that liked it. Very convenient for people that liked it. And now the digital age of movie watching has claimed yet another victim as Redbox, the once beloved movie rental kiosk and rival of video store Blockbuster, is shutting down after its parent company filed for bankruptcy. Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, which is a great name, converted its Chapter 11 bankruptcy case to a Chapter 7 liquidation proceeding after its lenders were unwilling to continue taking the risk of financing the failing business. That's the word from the Wall Street Journal. So now, Redbox's 24,000 rental kiosks will be closed as the company moves to liquidate its assets. Redbox saw an annual revenue of $1.97 billion at its height in 2013 and once had 43,000 kiosks in the U.S. and Canada. I am so bummed about this. Not that I used Redbox, but my concern here is if you're like me and a lot of other people that enjoy watching DVDs, and I'm not against digital streaming or anything like that. I have 900 streaming networks because they all have one program on them that you want to watch. But there's something so cool about DVDs, about being able to collect them, about being able to watch the behind the scenes featurettes, about being able to watch a movie, fall in love with that movie, and then watch it again with a director's commentary or the commentary of one of the stars and the director. You know what it is? It's not like I'm trying to bring back the telegraph here, okay? It's easy to see why SMS text messaging or using the mobile phone is better than using Morse code in the telegraph. It's easy to see that. So you can see why the Morse code and the telegraph went obsolete and was replaced with the telephone. I'll be honest, I carried a pager for about 2 years, up until about 3 years ago. And no one paged me. Because you know what they would do? If they wanted to reach me, they would call me or they would text me. I can understand why the pager fought a losing battle when it comes to technology. There is nothing wrong, though, with DVDs. DVDs are functional. The technology works great. And yet, every day, first it's Netflix. Best Buy did away with their DVDs, and now it's Redbox. Every day, another source for DVDs goes away. But it's a fully functional technology. Is this supposed to be me? Oh,
it is you.
Let me finish my comment here. It is a fully functional technology. It works fine. So why do I have to go into an antique store to find DVDs? Should not be this difficult. The big problem with it, you clearly do not have a problem with this, Matt.
No, I never use Redbox. I think there is one close to my house by my Walgreens. I got to look and see, because Elias said the movies are probably like 5 years old because they've never updated them, but I think they still do. I
think they do. I pay attention to, to their being updated. But absolutely.
Everything is streaming. You can find everything. You don't need DVDs. I have a huge collection of DVDs and Blu-rays, some of them not even opened, because I'd see it at Best Buy or wherever, and I go, oh, I don't have that. I got to buy that one. And it's still sitting there, still in the packaging, but it's so easy, depending on which TV service you use, if you have a smart TV, or I still have cable and every service. And all I got to do is speak into my remote and go, Netflix.
No.
And Netflix pops up.
Matt, as usual, you could not be more hopelessly wrong. I just sent you, for instance, my outstanding queue of DVDs from Netflix. And you can go through that list and you will see title after title, which you either can't find on streaming or you can't find without paying a fee. And Netflix, here you have this great service, which was still profitable, which 1 million people were still using, and that's gone. Now I have no way to watch these.
How could it, if it was still profitable, why would they get rid of it?
Because it wasn't as profitable as what they're doing with streaming. It wasn't just enough that they're making money. They wanted to make a lot of money. Their profits were not what they were, admittedly. And now Redbox is gone.
And how many movies are in your queue?
It was about 400 or 500.
Yeah, 400 or 500.
But that was the thing about that service that made it so great is you always had 3 new movies to watch that you wanted to watch. You were not slave to whatever they were putting on television.
But you're still not a slave
yes,
because
you
the
are.
stuff is there.
Yeah, because if I think of something that I want to watch, all right, it's $3. $3 on whatever. It's not good. This is an example of technology making things worse. This is it. And progress not being progress, it's what's the opposite of progress?
Regress.
Let's see. Well, no. If pro is if con is the opposite of pro, what's the opposite of progress? I wonder. Con. I don't know. I have to give that one some thought. All right. 646-720-0635. Sherry is in Illinois listening on WGN station. We are pleased to make our debut on this week. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Frank. I'm going to tell you, everybody knows me when I call in. I'm Sherry from Naperville, and I am so ecstatic that you're on the overnight hours and that you replaced the person who caused me and a lot of stress in our household.
I'm not going to say anything about the show that we replaced.
No, I'm not mentioning names, but I will say that you are up here so far to be on a level playing field, even though I think your predilections are on, anyway. But I will listen. And I wanted to call about the workplace environment that you said. And also, just so you know, the Netflix thing, they made a big mistake, but they were trying to, I'm pretty sure, evolve into other countries. And the best way to do that at that time was through streaming and subscriptions, not mailings.
Yeah.
And plus, they had like 2 different CEOs that, the founder and then, anyway, so I think they just kind of got misdirected. They would have done well, like you said, if they would have kept to their initial whatever, and then I think they auctioned off or did something or said you could get 30 free or something like that. DVD.
Right. No, they did let me keep the ones that I had, which was nice. But it was just a nice service to be able to enjoy and to have. And I miss it. And now I feel the same way for the people that are going to be missing out on what's happening with Redbox. Well, Sherry, thank you for welcoming us to
No. I wanted to talk about worship relationships.
Yeah, quickly if you can, though. Quickly if you can. Go ahead.
This year. I'll do it really fast. The younger generation and the COVID generation, workplace relationships are wonderful. They're key. You can make friends. And the way you make friends in the beginning when you first get there is you need to find out who your best resources are, whether it's in systems or whatever. You need to find the people that are most relevant to the problems you think you're going to have at work versus your coworkers who may be at the same level or a different level than you are or may want to share or not share. But your whole life is spent at work. I mean, and you need to foster relationships and be friendly and ask for help when you know somebody exceeds or excels at one characteristic, and you need to be available when they know you exceed or excel at another. I mean, I was a mainframe programmer, and some of my younger coworkers were like doing all this Excel new stuff that was coming along, GUI type stuff, and we would just back and forth, and I suggested in my department that we have a meeting for tricks and tips, and that helped a lot of people on both sides of the fence.
Sherry, I mean, I have to run. I appreciate the call and the perspective on that one. Thank you for welcoming us to WGN. I guess it's official now that Sherry from Naperville has welcomed us. Sherry, call again. Let's talk again. We'll continue that conversation and a whole bunch of others. We're going to do 15 seconds of fame in a moment. If you want to be heard for 15 seconds, now's the time. 646-720-0635. Straight ahead.
The Other Side of Midnight. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
When the lights go down and your dreams go wrong, in the darkness you might need a place to hide. If the days are long, when the sun goes down, you might need a place to call your own. Somewhere out there on the other side of midnight, you might hear a voice of breeze in the brine.
Ah, yes, The Other Side of Midnight by Stevie G and the Siamese All-Stars, a tremendous hit, which is just burning up the charts. No longer available anywhere, really, unless you email me and I'll connect you with Stevie G, and you can make your own arrangements with Stevie G to get the song. Frank.Morano@RedAppleAudioNetworks.com. Someone just sent me a text message, and you could send me an SMS as well at 816-8-Morano. He writes, or she writes, I was telling someone the other day that I hadn't heard you mention Netflix in a while. I was proud of you for making progress. So much for that. What am I supposed to do? It's not me. It's the system. It's rigged. Rigged against those of us that like DVDs. All right. Why don't we give you 15 seconds to say whatever you like as part of
The Other Side of Midnight. This is 15 Seconds of Fame.
Mike.
Morning, Frank. It's Toby Tuesday. The show's great. You're great. Great radio every day. DVDs are great. The country's great. Everything's great. Well, maybe the weather, not so great. Boo. Boo the weather. Yeah, it kind of sucks, but everything else is great. We must save the toe.
And Neil in Baltimore. Neil.
Neil in Staten Island.
Wherever you are, Neil. Hello.
Yes, Frank. Do you know Carl Lafond? Capital L, small a, capital F, small O, small N, small G. Lafond? Carl Lafond?
I can't say I do. Thank you. The other Neil, hello.
Good morning, Frank. On the insects, you should get one of these insect bombs and bomb the studio. That's my recommendation. And then my favorite Mel Brooks line is from Young Frankenstein, sedative? That's my favorite line.
That is a good one. David.
Yes, the opposite of progress is regress. And I bet you really miss those Betamax and Laserdiscs, don't you?
You know, I always wanted a Laserdisc machine. I never got one. I think, no, the opposite of progress is Congress? Jeez. Joseph is in Illinois. Hi, Joseph.
I only get 15 seconds. I want to get back to Redbox.
We'll call tomorrow. We'll chat more.
Okay, fine. I It's the first time I've called, the first time I've tuned into this show on this radio station at this hour.
Well, we're pleased to have you. Hopefully you'll make it a habit and we can continue our Red Box conversations. Gary, Diane, Esther, Rusty, I'm sorry we didn't get to you, but we will make an effort to do so tomorrow. Tomorrow, we got Mancow on the show tomorrow, as well as some other surprises. Frank Morano, good day.